It was one of the most famous ghost spots in all of Fukushima, the Yurei Pension. A building long abandoned and, if you believe the stories, now filled with ghosts. Hidden in the middle of nowhere, it could only be reached by car, which made it the perfect spot for teenagers to drive out and test how brave they were. Two friends reportedly went out one night to visit a few ghost spots in town. They picked up a ghost spot map from a nearby convenience store, and one of the locations it recommended was something called the Yurei Pension. It claimed someone had died there long ago, and now it remained empty. And so, the pair drove all the way to the pension, hidden deep in the mountains and far from civilization. By the time they reached the white building, sitting in the middle of the forest like something out of a European fairy tale, it was dark. The building looked fancy and romantic, or at least it would have, if not covered in graffiti and falling apart. There didn't seem to be any way in, so the pair reluctantly agreed to leave and check out someplace else. As they were pulling out, the passenger screamed that somebody was there. The driver hightailed it out of there, not wanting to stick around to confirm, and it wasn't until they were a safe distance away that he asked his friend what he saw. There had been a face stuck to the back windscreen as they pulled out of the lot. The face of someone long dead. In the early 1970s, there was talk of revitalizing the Inawashiro area by turning it into a tourist destination. Located in the heart of Fukushima Prefecture and on the shores of Lake Inawashiro, there wasn't a lot around at the time, just some uninhabited mountains and forests. The plan was to take these uninhabited areas and turn them into a bustling attraction, bringing in money from all around the country. The plan was for various hot springs, ski resorts, and lodgings to house all who would come to see them. Construction began in 1974, clearing out trees and creating flat land to build on, and by the end of the decade, work was underway for the first of these planned tourist attractions. Called Okinashima Pension, named after a nearby suburb, this lodging was supposed to house the many tourists that would visit the area for sightseeing and fun. It was designed with a romantic, fairy tale, European vibe, with tall wings and triangular roofs, sprawling arches, and wide open areas. However, despite the best laid and well-intentioned plans, the Okinashima Pension ended up being the only facility actually built for this new tourist trap. Nobody knows for certain what went on behind the scenes, but the project was abandoned, and the Okinashima Pension owner was left with a very large, very expensive resort literally in the middle of nowhere. And it's here that the rumours of ghosts began. With no tourists to lodge, the Okinashima Pension quickly closed down. This giant, expensive building sitting all alone in the middle of the forest soon led to all sorts of rumours, and none of them pretty. According to some, the owner of the building moved in with his family, because why not use such a large building, right? But they lost so much money that the entire family killed themselves. In some cases, the owner went mad and killed his family himself. The most popular rumour, however, was that the owner killed himself in the basement, unable to cope with such a large financial loss. His wife found him and, going mad, then went upstairs and took her own life as well. The problem with this story, however, is that the building doesn't have a basement. This is easily confirmed simply by visiting the building, and the architectural plans for the lodging reveal no basement either. The story later changed to the basement being filled in, which is why you can't find it anymore, and the story of the owner's death even moved from the basement to hanging himself in front of the fireplace instead. The basement still remains the most popular version of the tale, however, and refuses to die, despite hard evidence that it never existed. These days, the owner's spirit is said to roam the remains of the first floor, while his wife can be seen glaring at people from a second-floor window. It didn't take long for Okinashima Pension to be renamed the Yurei Pension, or even the Obake Pension by the locals, and to this day, those names have stuck. The site gained nationwide notoriety in the late 80s and 90s when various magazines and television programs picked up the site, regaling a brand new audience with tales of the tragic and terrifying Yurei Pension. Inagawa Junji, one of the most prolific and famous scary storytellers in Japan, helped make the site even more famous when he visited it himself and boasted of its terrifying nature. And as is the norm with ghost spots trying to claim the top spot for the most terrifying location in all of Japan, there were even reports of spirit medium Gibbo Aiko visiting the site and, as you might expect by now, refusing to enter because of the dangerous spirits said to reside there. Another medium reportedly visited the site and was possessed by one of those spirits. This spirit, speaking through the medium, claimed, "My family were cold. I won't forget my hatred towards them. Everyone here right now was treated coldly by them. We all met a terrible fate. You should leave. This place is our heaven." In addition to these supposed spirits, people have claimed to see floating severed heads around the roof, children's handprints appearing on window glass, and having trouble getting their cars to start when trying to flee in terror. It's not uncommon for someone to meet with an unfortunate accident on their way home from the pension either. The building was made predominantly from wood and light steel, due to the lack of funds at the time. So while it currently still stands, much of it has rotted and collapsed. Fukushima sees a lot of snow, and this heavy snowfall has seen large sections of the building cave in under the weight, while the moisture has helped rot away much of the wood, leaving bare steel frames only barely holding structures up in many places. The fireplace the owner was said to have killed himself in front of still stands, and several years back, some youths lit a fire in it. Residents downhill saw the smoke through the trees and thought the building was on fire, but when officials arrived, they only found burnt remains inside the hearth. As for the owner who supposedly killed himself in the non-existent basement, and then in front of the fireplace when that was proven not to exist, turns out he's still alive and well, and running a separate business in another prefecture. He's getting on in years, but he's very much still alive. All sorts of rumours and legends persist about the infamous Yurei Pension, and despite many of them having been proven false, they, just like the spirits, refuse to die. But what do you guys think about this one? Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll see you again next time.